Hey y'all, it's Kelt. Let's talk about the Speaker of the House and Trump. Back in 2021, this idea floated around of making Trump the Speaker of the House if Republicans took back the House. And at the time of filming this, there is a possibility that Republicans would take the House while Democrats take the Senate. After Trump made the comment that he'd be interested in the idea of Speaker of the House, multiple Republicans latched onto this idea. Not necessarily Republican politicians, but Republican populists. The idea of make Trump Speaker of the House and then impeach Biden. Because Speaker of the House is third in line for the presidency. President, Vice President, Speaker of the House. The ultimate question, though, is could Republicans actually do this? And the answer, unfortunately, is yes. See, there's no provision in the Constitution that prevents the Speaker of the House from being someone who is not elected to Congress. It generally just states the House will elect their Speaker. This was kind of an oversight of our founding fathers. It was kind of assumed that the House would just elect someone from within itself to represent itself as the Speaker. So they never put in anything to prevent something else from happening. Now, so far we have never had a Speaker of the House that was not a member of Congress, but that doesn't mean that there haven't been votes for people that were not members of Congress to be the Speaker of the House. They just never won. Many legal analysts have looked into whether this could happen, and they're leery about whether or not the courts would take this up if it was challenged. Because theoretically, it would give a person who is unelected power within the legislative branch. So yeah, Republicans could do this, but is it a good idea? In their eyes, yes, because this gives Republicans the idea that they could put Trump as Speaker of the House, impeach Biden, impeach Harris, and then boom, Trump is back as presidency. There's a few issues with this. One, Dems are still going to control the Senate. If they put Trump as Speaker of the House and file articles of impeachment against both Biden and Harris, it would be up to the Senate to convict and remove Biden and Harris. Don't really see that happening. And two, this would require the Republican Party to actually agree that Trump should be Speaker of the House. If we look right now, the Republican Party is actually divided over the idea of Trump being involved in the Republican Party. Apparently they're getting tired of his ego and narcissism, and some are starting to realize that having Trump involved in the Republican Party is actually going to bring the Republican Party down. Those of you wanting to see Trump as Speaker of the House, cool, do it. I dare you. No guts. I dare you. Actually see it happen? More than likely this is going to cause a fracture within the Republican Party. We already see people like Liz Cheney speaking out against the idea of Trump as Speaker of the House.
We certainly have a threat that we have never faced before in our country in terms of a former president who tried to overturn an election and for whom there's still tremendous loyalty inside the Republican Party. We could well have a situation, if you think about how speakers are elected, on January 3rd, when the new Congress is sworn in, there'll be a roll call vote by, alphabetically, and members will have to stand and say, for whom they're casting their vote for Speaker. And you could imagine a situation in our current environment where members at the beginning of the alphabet say Donald Trump. You don't have to be a member of the House to be Speaker. And if people on the Republican side start standing up and saying Donald Trump, you could have an impact where many people say that, and where Donald Trump will begin to view that as some sort of a loyalty test. That's the power that he is holding right now over Kevin McCarthy and over a number of members in the leadership of the Republican caucus.
The other issue that this would create, besides just a fracture within the Republican Party about their idea of who should be in charge of the Republican Party, is it's going to completely stall the House, the one section of government that the Republicans would actually have control of getting anything done. Speaker of the House is not a powerless position. It has the ability to determine what legislation actually gets voted on and what doesn't. So imagine having someone like Trump in charge of that. Even if Republicans put a bill, if Trump doesn't feel that person is loyal enough to them, that bill's never getting off the Speaker's desk. We see this now with Trump's posts on Truth Social, where he's turning against fellow Republicans because he doesn't think they're MAGA enough for him. So while legal, this may not be the power play that Republicans think it is. And in fact, it's probably going to be beneficial from Dems if they try to do it. We'll see, though.